Hi, how you doing today? My name is David Schuster, as you know my channel here. Um, I'd like to speak to you today about changes I would like to see done in the Senate. Bills passed, work with Congress and stuff to get some of these bills done and things like that. Okay, first off, I would like to see the electoral financial system changed. I would like to see that the candidates cannot take donations and all donations go to the party that they are running in. Okay, the Republicans that would normally donate for a Republican candidate would donate to the Republican Party. All these counties that have these Republican gatherings and stuff and meet and greets and things that charge, 40, 50, even some at just $10. But they they would have that money to promote their candidate in their county. Now, the way I would like to see it done is the main party for the state would take the money, maybe give 5,000 to each candidate, just so they have money to get around to do the things that I think the party needs to do. Okay. Now the party should pay for the commercials. Okay, give everybody like one or two commercials, like just a couple weeks prior to the election aspect, because we see too much of that on TV. Gets old, gets boring, and I realize they do it for name recognition. Well, I don't have any name recognition. All the money going into my campaign so far has been my own money. I'm pretty much using the 1,200 I got from the federal government to buy some these signs here and a few other things, and to pay for me to go to some of these meet and greets. I'm going to my first one in Rogersville this Saturday. From my understanding, Haggerty's supposed to be there and Manny's supposed to be there. But like I said, we don't need no more politicians or doctors. And I've seen another couple commercials of other doctors. Now, the doctors, they probably got a little more money because they make more money than me. Because, as I said, I'm a disabled veteran and stuff, so I don't really get a whole lot, especially when the VA has ripped me off and not giving me the proper percentage that I deserve. But that's another story. So, in what I feel the state party should do is have debates, okay? Televised debates. Pay for airtime and get all the candidates there that are running for that party and have debates. And then also, like I said, maybe they can pay for one commercial per person or something like that to be run statewide, or two, one or two. Depends upon how much money the party has, of course. And, people are frustrated and they don't give to the candidates really, not the normal people like myself. Now, the rich that are trying to buy influence with the candidate, they do. That's why some of these people, a couple that I have mentioned, have millions of dollars in the bank. Me, I got $500. So I'm going to go to this meet and greet in Rogersville, say my piece, and this is going to be part of it. Like, they got all this money in the bank. Who are they really running for? Are they running for the people? I don't think so. And that's why I don't really like so-called politicians, which I guess I am one now, seeing how I'm running. But I'm really just an average Joe, that has a lot of common sense, like I said in one of our other videos and stuff. So, I feel if the party gets the money and that would make it fair for everybody running. Now, they do need to probably make a few little guidelines in there because there are 22 people running for this position, like I said, from all three parties, the Democrats, the Independents, and the Republicans. But it would make it more fair. Like I said, you got some guys with millions of dollars. I feel if the party had that money, they could go and pay TV time to have a half-hour debate with the candidates, or maybe a couple-hour debate with the candidates. I think the federal government should probably make it a requirement that the states allow a certain amount of time for each party to do a televised debate. That way the people can get to know you. Everybody gets the same FaceTime and get the name recognition instead of just the corrupt ones, or, people that are actually going up there and going to be working for people that have paid for their influence. I'm running for the people. I am not going to, be a yes man to Trump neither. Although I have agreed with majority of things he's done. He's been a very good president. Probably the first one I've seen that has actually done what he said he would do when he was running for president. Now, so I understand some of the things he hasn't been able to get done because of the Democratic Party running Congress, but that's the people's fault because, they put them in there. But then again, you have certain people out there that fund these candidates so they have the influence in them. And no names mentioned. George Soros, I think. No names. Okay. So that's the way I feel about it. And to make it more fair for everybody, it needs to be changed. Now, also, when it comes to the line item vetoes, I don't think any politician is really going to vote for a line item veto. I would myself, but they're just kind of sort of screwing themselves because then they can't do bribery in Congress, to get their multi-million-dollar things tacked onto bills that don't even relate to that aspect of what they're putting on there, so that they can get the vote for that bill to pass. That's bribery to me. I would like to change also, if they can't get the line item veto done through that way, I would like to maybe have a referendum put on the ballot when we vote for president in 4 years from now. Being a Senate, it's a 6-year term. I would still be there, provided you elect me, which I hope you do. And then we could put it out as a referendum and have the people vote whether the president should have a line item veto. And that would get rid of that bribery aspect, because then you could just write it off and veto that line, and say, no, you can't do that. And once he gets that, I think a lot of that may even stop in Congress and in the Senate, where they sell their votes. And that needs to be done. Now, when it comes to family and privileges for the candidate's family, as far as gifts and things like that, we need to broaden the aspect. Right now, it's just the candidate can't take gifts, or his wife. Okay, so what do they do? Like, everybody's heard about Biden and what him and his kid has done, but not much has really been said about his brother that got the $1.5 billion grant, which to a company that he started I think it was 4 or 6 months prior to applying for the grant, because they knew it was coming up, because Joe, being the vice president, knew it was coming up to rebuild Iraq. That was supposed to be for housing for the Iraqis, but from my understanding, I heard that nothing got built, so they just took the money. And then also, his son with China, he got $1 billion from China, and then the Ukraine fiasco there. The UK is run by the deep state also, and that's what Biden says. Well, they all say, well, the EU wanted him gone too. Well, that's because George Soros was being investigated by the Attorney General in the Ukraine also, and with his influence and all the politicians he buys, there you go. It gets done. Okay, George, you're not investigated no more. And then they say all this crap about this Burisma company, which ended up getting like 25 million or something like that, and then kicked back to Joe through his son, ended up getting like 3 million of that. So there's so much corruption, and that's why, like I said, with these politicians and doctors and lawyers, why are they going for a job that pays less than they can make on the outside instead of being? It's because they're going up there to be corrupt and to make more money after. And that's another thing about with the Republican Party. Um, After the candidates are done running, when they retire, the money they have collected from donors and stuff, they get to keep. Now, I feel they shouldn't be able to keep that money. That money should go back to the party. Whatever party they ran for or were elected for and stuff like that, that money should go back to the party. They should not keep it. They already get a tremendous retirement from Congress and the Senate, which also needs to change. They get too much. And we need to get a balanced budget, and that would help balance the budget. Now, another thing I would like to see change, and a lot of people are not going to like this because they're federal employees, but I feel the states should also do this. And if you're a state employee, I'm sorry. But what happens in government, and people that work in the government, you know this already because some of you have already done it, is they do their 20 years, they retire, and they start getting paid their retirement right away. Well, I think they should wait until they're 65. Or if you want to get your retirement right away, instead of getting half of your base pay, you only get 15%. And that would help save the government money in the long run too. Because when they quit that job after 20 years, they usually go get another federal job for another 20 years. So then we got two retirements going out. They're working for the government, they get in retirement, and then they go and work for the government again, and they retire, and then they get two pensions from the government. So now they're making 100% of their pay. So then when they're retired, we're actually paying two people to do that one job. And then it keeps adding up because after that one does the 20, the person that replaces them does the 20. Okay, they retire. Now we're paying two people for retirement. That's half the pay. So we're paying two people to do the one job. Okay. The amount of two full-time people to do one job. So that's a big waste. And I think that needs to be changed. And unions. Unions are just the mob, if you ask me. I don't think anybody should be forced to have to join a union if they don't want to, or be forced to pay dues. If they want to, they can. But I think unions should probably go away, really. We have a State of the Union every year. The president says how we're doing. But, I understand it's the union of the states. It's how the states are doing. But the government is supposed to look out for our welfare. And we shouldn't have to have unions looking out for our welfare. If you look at when I was 14 years old in 72, when I started working and paying Social Security, I was making $2.25 an hour for minimum wage. Okay, but I could go down to the gas station and get a gallon of gas for 25 cents. So I could get a McDonald's burger for 10 cents, and I could get a cheeseburger for 15 cents. So if you were to base the minimum wage off that and times it by how much a burger costs now, which is almost $4. So that's gone up like 300-400%. And if you were to raise minimum wage, or if you just use the gas at 25 cents a gallon, even though gas was cheap now, it's now almost back up to $2. I saw it today; it was $1.85. Okay, so if you go for 25 cents into that, there's 6 times. So then that's 12. It'd be about $13 and $14 an hour, something like that. I'm just winging it out of my head. So, but if you were to go off of like the McDonald's burgers, when they used to say feed a family of 4 for under $10, you can't even feed 2 people for under $10 now, really. At least the way some people eat. But there are people that only eat one burger, a little fry, and a soda, I guess. But not me. I got to have a couple burgers, as you can see. I'm not a small man. So we need to do some of them changes. There's a lot more that needs to happen. I'm game for that. Like I said, I want to work with Congress because Senate writes bills too, but their main job is for appointees and stuff and committees. Okay, and then the Congress usually does the bills, and then it goes to the Senate, and then I guess Mitch McConnell has tabled some of them, but then when it was Republican Congress and a Democratic Senate, Harry Reid really tabled everything. Nothing got through on Harry Reid, and then the left would talk bad about the Republicans, saying, "Well, they're not doing nothing in Congress." But then again, we had a Speaker of the House that really wasn't, if you ask me, a Republican. He was more or less a deep state, so he was kind of like in the pocket too. So and now he's the head of one of the guys on the board of Fox News on TV. And Fox has changed some because of that, but that's another story too. So those are some of the changes I like to see, mainly the electoral thing, so we can start getting regular people in office and not all these doctors and lawyers and politicians. We don't need lifelong politicians. I want to see the term limits too. If they don't pass, if we can't get term limits passed, I like to have that put on the referendum too. Or the president does 4 years, Congress does 2 years, and the Senate does every 6 years. They got to get reelected. I would like to see the term limits go to no one does over 12. Okay, now the president will only do 8. Congress can do 4 years, four terms times 2, that's 12, and Senate 2. Okay, that's the way I feel. People don't really know what they do when they first go up there. That first year or so, they're going to be learning, and then from then on, they can do better and actually run committees and stuff like that. So that's the way I feel about them things. I hope I can get your vote. Remember, David Schuster. I'm running for the people, U.S. Senate, going for Lamar's Alexander seat, for the great state of Tennessee. God bless the great state of Tennessee and the United States of America. And you have a good day.